Hello and welcome to season 2 of ET Now on the Go. I will not introduce the city today. However, I will introduce a car. And I would urge our viewers to guess which car I am talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I have next to me world's oldest car. Guess the maker. And if you want to know more about the history, well, I have the perfect guest to really walk us through a lovely down the lane memory of the oldest car to the most modern car. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Nikunj, for joining us at Mercedes-Benz India.
And we are actually standing next to the world's oldest car.
Yes, this car was how automotive industry evolved. 1886, this is the first vehicle, motor wagon we call it, which Bertha Benz took out on public roads. And this is how cars came of age in the world.
So this is how the first car looked like.
Yes.
And there is the engine.
So the engine is right here. What has happened is it's a single cylinder engine. The horse carriage has been replaced with an engine. It's a simple thought if you look back in history. But yes, this is how mobility started 138 years back. And today here we are in our plant producing lovely, excellent cars for the future.
So it's over 150 years for the Mercedes-Benz history?
138 to be precise. 1886 is when Carl Benz's wife, Bertha Benz, took this vehicle out. It got a lot of public attention. And post that, we were developing this car better and better. Of course, the word Mercedes comes from a different way because the first investor in the company was a French businessman called Emile Enelic. His daughter's name was Mercedes. And he said, I will invest in this company if you name the car as Mercedes.
Wow.
That car went to win a lot of races, and the rest is history because Mercedes is known today, and the three-pointed star for sure is a well-known brand, known world over. Over the years, we have won not only races, but also have made the most luxurious cars in the world.
When did Mercedes India come to India?
Wow, so we have a very rich journey. You know, we had 1954, we were with Tata trucks. You know, in some parts of India, in coal mines, you may still find some trucks of Tata and there. And of course, but we came to India in 94. It's 30 years in India now that we celebrate 30 years of our presence in India. This plant in Chakan, Pune, we are here since 2009. So we have done 15 years in this location. So totally 30 years in India, 15 years in this plant. We have a subsidiary which is doing R&D in India, which is called Mercedes-Benz Research and Development. Around 10,000 employees. They are based out of Bangalore. Now they have an office in Pune. That came in 96. And our non-banking financial services, which is NBFC, Mercedes-Benz Financial, they came in 2012. So we have 3 entities in India, all at different points. But yes, Mercedes-Benz started in 94, 30 years of history.
Last couple of years have been extraordinary for luxury car maker. There have been more demand. There have been long queues. But off late, which is last 3 months, at least the data which is coming from the organized sector seems to be indicating that a slowdown is there. Is it true for luxury car as well as for Mercedes India?
So I can't comment on the total luxury industry because there are some players facing challenges. But for Mercedes-Benz India, we are very much poised for a clear double-digit growth. You know, the last quarter as well for us, July to September, we had excellent sales. And I think we will also end. We follow Jan to December calendar year. We are pretty confident to end the year on a double-digit growth. I think most of the cars like the EQS SUV Maybach are sold out. The new E-Class, which we have just introduced now, is again 3 months of waiting for the car the moment we have launched the car. So I think there is clear demand for newer cars, newer products, and for us, we don't see any slowdown impact. In fact, we see a much more stronger demand from a younger target group that's coming to our brand.
Which is the cheapest Mercedes in India?
It's the A-Class. It's still at 52 lakhs on road. But
52 lakhs on road.
On road, but generally we don't say about the price. We talk about EMI because you can still own this car at around 50,000 EMI a month, and I think that something makes customers get into the brand much faster because of course the cars are fully loaded. We don't compromise on safety, so all of them have to be there, and so it starts at 52 lakhs on road, and then of course we have the GLA, GLC, and so.
And which is the most expensive one because that's why you don't have to worry about the EMI.
Wow, the most expensive, let me say, will be the guard vehicles. We have armored cars, the S-Class armored car, again used by a lot of heads of state and also the top business tycoons in India as well. That goes up to 12 crores. But otherwise, if you take a non-armored vehicles, it's the G-Wagon, the S-Class Maybach, they are at 5.5 to 6 crores.
What is the average waiting in the non-armored vehicle.
Wow, the G-Wagon today, if you book a car, you will get end of next year.
End of next year.
Yeah, if you are lucky, because we have
If
right now
someone
even
knows you,
closed the
can they,
bookings.
if someone knows you, if they send you an SMS
No,
personally,
we have a
nothing
transparent
like this.
process.
Okay.
Otherwise, my phone will always be ringing. But the G-Wagon, the S-Class, Maybach, these are cars which have a much more longer gestation. We import them. The EQG, the electric version of the G-Wagon, around 3 crores, even that sold out for India for the next 12 months' time.
So what you're confirming to us is that, look, there could be a bit of a slowdown here or there, but at least in the luxury car segment, you can speak about Mercedes India.
Yeah.
There is no slowdown whatsoever.
No, at this stage, we see a very strong demand for across our portfolio.
So nobody should expect Diwali Dussehra discounts.
No, we have it. I think it's a sentimental issue also. You know, if we don't give any offers. So we have mostly finance related offers, some insurance offers. So offers are on, but that's again more so in the entry and core segment. But in the new cars, for obvious reasons, we can't give any offers. So there are nothing there. But for festive, there are some campaigns, some stuff. We are also saying take test drives. You can actually get a CLE, a dream car as such. But nothing significant discounts, I would say.
So this is a car in which we'll take a test drive now.
It's a new EQS, that we make in India again. The first electric luxury car that we make in India. Please.
So this is the first EV of Mercedes to be made in India.
Exactly, not of Mercedes, but in the luxury segment, the first luxury EV to be made in India. We started this during COVID, the project, and this came in late 2022. And it's been 18 months ever since launch. More than 500 cars on Indian roads, almost 1 EV a day, you can say we have been able to sell this in India.
Is Mercedes, now that India has become a large market and the numbers you've given us, in fact, are quite inspiring. And I understand that Mercedes last year crossed a turnover of about 10,000 crore.
Yeah.
And if the growth continues, 15,000 is coming very soon.
Absolutely. I think for us, we are not chasing only the top line. That's there. I think we are quite profitable. Also, our dealer partners, our suppliers, ecosystem, we have to be conscious of that fact. But more importantly, I think we are also changing the way retailing in luxury segment is done in India. So if you see, we are also the only brand to do direct-to-consumer retailing. Here, our dealers act only as agents. And that again completes 3 years now in India. India was the first country to start this model. Today, I'm proud to say Mercedes-Benz globally, Germany, UK, Australia, all of them have shifted to direct-to-consumer model. So one is, of course, a top-line story, as you said, which we will grow as the country grows. But I think we are also as passionate on the customer experience bit as well. And we want to lead and continue to lead on that front.
So what should I expect from today's test drive?
Well, firstly, what the EV offers is quietness to start with. And I think it will be a short drive. I would say apart from the car, you can also see a lovely facility around.
Look forward.
I would say yes, because the car you can always experience. But since you are at Pune and at a lovely facility, yeah, please. So yeah, let's go.
So is Mercedes ready to make made in India cars for India?
We have been, as I said, we were the first to come to India way back in 1994. It's been 30 years we are in India. We have 11 cars that we make in Chakan in Pune in this factory, and we will continue on this journey because 95% of the cars that we sell in India are all for the market. Specifically, also, engineered for the market. We have been making a lot of changes in the car in terms of design, ground clearance. So that's a continuous effort, and we will continue to invest in India. This plant, we have invested close to 3,000 crores.
Already?
Yes, already.
Okay.
This year, we have done 200 crores to get new car lines to India. So I think our commitment to the Indian market stays. We have an internal word called strategic patience. We feel India, we are in the long run. 30 years, the first 20 years went into a very slow, we were at 2000, I joined this company in 2009. We used to sell 2,800 cars. From there, today, close to 20,000, we did 18,000 odd last year fiscal. And we are still continuing on this double-digit growth trajectory. So I think it's been a good journey of sorts. More importantly than I would say it's not just the sales of cars, the average selling price. We used to be pre-COVID around 58 lakhs, 60 lakhs. Today, our cars are around average selling price is close to 90 lakhs. So it also shows India has not only matured in terms of the number of cars being sold, but also the average selling price of cars is now as good as any developed country in the world.
How much is that because of inflation?
So inflation, of course, has played a role because we also a lot of parts gets imported. Exchange rate is another issue. The logistic cost that's also going up in these cars also adds to it. But I think we have also changed the mix of cars. Pre-COVID, 25% of our sales used to be entry cars. Today it's only 15%, and 25% of the cars that we sell are all 1.5 crores upwards. Okay. So that clearly shows a very different mix of cars that we are selling.
So the cars which are made in India, how much of that have an Indian component to it and how much of that has imported component? And what was the number like when Mercedes came to India first?
Okay, so clearly, India has its own localization guidelines. If I give you a number, 30% of the, we have achieved more than 30% localization. I would say for all the cars that we make in India, we have a very big supplier ecosystem here
including the engine.
Including the engine. That's also assembled here with our suppliers. The seats, for examples, are also made here. So we have a lot. The new E-Class, which we have launched recently, for the first time, we have actually localized the glasses as well in India. Okay. So there is a very clear focus. Now let me also share that the localization focus is not just for cars to be made in India. We have a 50-member team sitting in Pune in this plant, which is constantly looking at all suppliers and trying to see if India can supply to the world, to our global production facilities. And that's an ongoing discussion that we continue to have. So it's just not for the local plant and our local operations, but sourcing actively from India for the world. So that's again a clear project that we want to increase more suppliers out of India for the world.
There's a comment of yours which in a sense got a lot of attention, that luxury cars sales are not doing well because money is going to SIP. I've been told the other way around now. The SIP investors are selling and they're cashing out and buying luxury cars.
See, I would say, frankly, they both are symbiotic.
You should be thanking the SIPs.
No, I always, my point of view was here that India is in a well, okay, and if you look at all statistics, all reports, a number of billionaires, etc., we have a lot of billionaires in India. But of course, car still is not the first choice. The first starts from house. Then one wants to save for their social security reasons, and for that social security, for their end of retirement or for your children, you start with SIPs, which is great. A lot of consumers also buy cars with SIPs, as you rightly said. But of course, as marketeers, we would wish that, with these cars today can be bought with 50,000 to a lakh of EMI. So, and there are many Indians who can easily spend a lakh of rupees as a monthly installment. And so, this question was an answer to why is the luxury car market not growing exponentially. We are growing, but is it not an exponential growth? And that can happen when the prioritization of spends or investments changes. We are still wanting to be a bit more conservative. Of course, the young population today is much more open. They have the YOLO life. So definitely you can see them spending much more. They don't look back and spend. But yes, that was the context of the comment on SIPs, I would say. But they are symbiotic,
But I'm assuming you have both. You own a Mercedes and you have SIP also, right?
For sure, for my investment, absolutely.
How do you see this entire ecosystem where there is a space for EV, there is space for ICE, and there's also space for hybrid? Who has the right to win?
I think firstly, the zero emission mobility has a right to win. As automotive industry, we have a responsibility to the market as well. Today, there are many studies, even in India, which says that 20% of the greenhouse emissions are coming from automotive sector. Now, if you don't decarbonize the sector and grow exponentially, we will have a public health crisis. Even today, we can see many families, many people having respiratory health issues, and we are part of the problem. And that's a big step. As a corporate citizen, for us, combustion engine technology has been there for ages. Hybrid has been there with us for 20 years now. We also have plug-in hybrids. But EV is something which is the only technology which gives zero emission mobility. And if there is if we have to go towards zero emission mobility, we need to have electrification. So the question is not which will win. The question is what eventually, how fast we need to transition to EV. And that's, I think it's an obvious answer that EVs are the only choice and we all need to go all in on this technology.
I'm sure you've seen that very famous picture on Wall Street. There was a year it was hard to find a car on Wall Street. And then 10 years after that, it was hard to find a horse carriage on the Wall Street. I'm sure you've seen
Absolutely
that picture.
Right. Absolutely. It's a very nice, description of what things may be in store in the future.
Did that happen to EV?
I think EVs, as I said, EVs will be there to stay. The cars are here to stay because consumers will need mobility. But combustion engines would be a thing of past, more from environmental reasons. I personally grew up with combustion engines. I love the smell of gasoline. We love to drive these cars. But if we don't care for our children and for the next generation, we are also not responsible. So in that sense, I am a bigger fan that EVs will be there to stay, and we need to push actively and educate the customer for the transition.
Thank you for the ride. I think it's just that there was no sound. It did not feel like we were in a car. It was like a machine on wheels.
Yeah.
And the experience, I think, has been extraordinary.
And imagine this drives autonomously now. So in the US, in China, in Germany, we are level 3 autonomous. So you can do some Lego games in the car. You can actually do your calls and meetings, and the car drives autonomously.
So tell us about where we're entering now.
So this is our customer experience center. So a lot of customers, sometimes they want to personalize their Maybach, look at the color options. Also we have a studio here where they can select the textiles, what goes into the car. So we get them here, they customize. Also we have a small SUV track where they can take an SUV experience. So yeah, this is about our home, and we also use it for internal town halls and gatherings.
The luxury car market in India had this deep swell or big uptick post-COVID, the number of 25-30%.
Yeah.
But do you expect the luxury car market in India to grow above India's nominal GDP, which is 10 to 12%?
I feel in the long run, the double-digit growth should be there for sure. But there are a lot of factors. On one side, the price of these cars are also going up because some of them are dependent on exchange rate. The euro used to be at 70, 80 sometime back. Today it's at 93. So that puts pressure on pricing. And more the cars become expensive. Maybe it has a direct impact on demand as well. The other factor, of course, is also the prioritization of, as I said some time back, housing still remains prior one, luxury housing is still prior one. But with a change in the generational shift, we are pretty confident that over a period of time, the double-digit growth story should continue.
How much of your cars are sold through the finance route?
So 40% of the cars that we are selling are sold with our own captive financial, Mercedes-Benz financial, and the balance 40 via other banks. So 80% of all cars that we sell are via finance.
Do interest rates play a role in terms of?
For sure. Customers are sensitive even at this segment, So if the interest rates are too expensive, the EMIs goes up, and then either they downgrade to the next segment of cars, or at times they postpone purchases. So it's also, luxury starts where necessity ends. So they have multiple cars in the household. So sentiment in the market plays a big role in luxury. So if today stock market is on the rise, it's booming. So the sentiments are positive, people are buying. It doesn't take time for the sentiments to change. Maybe the macroeconomy doesn't change, but the sentiments, so it's a very sentiment driven business as well when it comes to luxury cars, sales and also the demand.
I'd like to draw your attention to one debate which already started by auto experts, which is that the electric car has a shelf life or a life cycle which is much lower than the ICE car, which is that every 3 or 4 years you'll have to change the battery. Does that mean that the value of the second-hand electric car market will be much lower, and that in a sense could change a lot of things for the EV market in India, because Mercedes gets its true value also because of its second-hand car market?
You are absolutely right. Now let's talk about EV first. And the life of the battery is a misnomer. It's for 3 to 4 years. The issue is our muscle memory is coming from mobile phones, handsets, laptops, and we feel after 4 years, its battery will not work. However, when you talk about cars, we are giving a 10-year battery warranty on an EQS SUV. So that's a warranty to start with. If you look at the life of the battery, the state of charge reduces by 5 to 10% in 10 years. That means if the range is 500 kilometers, in 10 years, the range will be 450 kilometers. So there is considerable life left in the battery. I asked the other way around. What happens to a combustion engine after 15 years? And what happens to an EV after 15 years? An EV, now I can talk about Mercedes-Benz, our batteries are so advanced that 97% of the battery can be recycled, which means the future minds of cars are lying in our current cars. So the value of the car, so if you extrapolate the residual value of an EV from 15 years backwards, I think it's much higher than combustion engine, because combustion engine, the recoverability is 50-60%. So in that sense, the car has more intrinsic value in terms of content. Secondly is the taxation on cars. You know, if you look at a combustion engine, on an average, it's 65 to 68% taxed. EV is 5% in markets like Bombay, wherever there is no road tax. So intrinsically, when you buy an EV, you are buying $95 worth of content compared to $32 worth of content in a combustion engine. So that again, it has more value. However, residual value is also based on new car demand. So if the new car demand is strong, so if there is, in next 3 years, if in India, the EV wave comes up, there will be a big market for used EVs as well. Because the misconceptions will change. Customers would love to buy an EV, and when they buy a 3-year, 4-year-old EV, they know that the life is there for another 10 years, 15 years, and this cycle changes. Today, you are right. The residual values are a bit challenging because one, some of the brands have dropped prices. Secondly, the new car demand has been challenging, and all this misnomer on the life of the batteries, etc., adds to the anxiety, and it's there. But it's a matter of time. I think as corporates, we have to, I would say, educate customer. We are also giving a residual value guarantee with our cars. You know, we say that at the end of 3 years, we can give you an X guarantee for the car, and so that fear is mitigated.
So at least you pretty much know that where the pricing is moving. That's a comfort the customer always wants.
Exactly.
And which is one of your competitors also now trying to do MG when they're coming up with a buyback value.
Yeah, they are more in the premium mass segment. I would say for us, I think right now for EVs, more is welcome. I think as many players come, I keep saying that if you look at the auto retail in India, less than 8 to 10% of auto retail today sells an EV. 90% of auto retail outlets don't sell an EV. So the narrative will change when the big players, more players come to the market across segments. I'm sure this will happen in the next 36 months because with all of them have committed with EVs, they all come in, all their sales guys start talking EVs. So the transition curve will be much different, much better in a matter of time.
Before I shift to the last part of this interaction, so I'm going to summarize this point of yours for our viewers that this was, I think, Bill Gates, who said that we always overestimate the rate of change in the short term, underestimate in the long term. That is where EV curve is. Yes, right now there is excitement, talk, but
exactly.
what will gradually happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, is like the Pune city. First time I came here, it was different.
Yeah.
Now this town is buzzing. I'm sure that's been the experience for Mercedes India. When they came for the first time, it was a new beginning. Today it's a formidable, brand and
absolutely,
a turnover of 10,000 crore clocked in already, nearing 15,000 crore. That makes it one of the biggest companies in India.
Yeah.
So personally, for you, how does your day start? How does your day end?
Wow, I start my day nowadays with a bit of regime, with a bit of quick yoga, I can say, more exercises, stretch, and then of course I start my day. My breakfast is in the car. I drive an EQS, quite. I can do my work, I do my breakfast in the car itself, and then of course, mostly we have a
so breakfast is on the go, that's why we have you on the 18 hour go.
Nice, that's a nice way to put it, actually. But it gets me that extra half an hour for me to do my yoga a bit in the morning, otherwise it's a bit packed. But I love to be in office. We have a flexi working day schedule, Tuesdays and Thursdays we can work from home, but I love to be here, coming here, being with the people.
You come to this office every day?
Almost as possible. I travel a lot also within India. So in that sense, whenever I'm in Pune, I tend to be here.
How does your day end?
Day ends again. I try to reach home by 7, if possible, 7 to 7:30, and then first thing I have is dinner, so that I don't delay this. And then I do a 3 to 4 kilometer walk with my wife. That's the only time we get to chat about life, about kids, as such. So yeah, that's my routine.
If there's a billboard on which the motto of your life is written, what would that billboard be?
I would say enjoy life, without over planning it. So for me, that's important, but also giving back to society is equally important. So
which are three
we are fortunate.
Which are 3 German words you still find it hard to pronounce?
That I will anyway find it hard to pronounce. So it's difficult. But I learned German. I did A1. I got certification as well. But language is something if you don't use often, you don't pick it up. So in that sense, it's challenging. But I can understand German a bit more because of my colleagues.
And when you go to a restaurant, is it yellow dal first or is it black dal first?
Black dal, because yellow dal I have at home.
Really appreciate your time. We came here with a lot of curiosity, but we are going back with a lot of knowledge. And that's the whole attempt of this
Thanks
series.
for your time, and thanks for doing this series with us here in Pune.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.